Welcome everybody to our Tagmarshal 4.0 Optimization Masterclass. This is our episode 2, Efficiencies and Labor Savings with the new upgraded Tagmarshal 4.0. We're delighted that you can join us. And with me today, I have the real specialists. I'm just the panel host, and the one is our COO and my co-founder, Craig Clue. Craig, how are you this morning?
Very good. Thank you, Bodo. Excited to be here.
Yes, I know. You are full of insight for our guests. And the other is our Canadian Customer Success Manager and PGA professional, Dean Mance. Dean, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks, Bodo. Looking forward to this webinar this morning.
I see, judging by your profile pic, that there's reverse trends in this business. I've lost my hair building this business, and you have grown yours. What's the secret? Genetics.
I'm just enjoying it. I'm just enjoying it while it lasts, Bodo.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get going. We've got a lot to get through, and we're excited to share some insights that we hope you'll find useful. Just some housekeeping. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to post them in the Q&A. We have some of our customer success team online. They will answer as we go. And if there's any special questions, we will obviously also give them some time at the end of the session in a little Q&A. So keep firing away as you have questions or want to know things. So a quick update on Tagmarshal. We're very excited to be growing at a really heavy rate. And data obviously is our currency. So we have now tracked 75 million rounds, and there's 10 million data points that come with that. You can really imagine that's fantastic food for any algorithms and machine learning and AI. So our tech team is very excited about that. This year has been a really, really good one for us. And we now work with 600 partners. And what's important to us, obviously, is that we get to give back to the industry that we're looking to make better. But really what we see ourselves as is a conduit, right? Because we work with some of the very best clubs out there, including this year's US Openers, Pinehurst, for instance, and Valhalla hosted amazing PGA champs. And those are trailblazers when it comes to golf management excellence, and we get to learn from them, right? So we get to learn from them, their best practices, and we listen to them and to many of our other partners too, what's important to them. And then we look to build it back into our system and ultimately take the best learnings from all of our partners and distill it down to what really matters. Including some partners on the tours like the DP World Tour and the USGA, whose amateur events we tracked this season. So very exciting. And to top things off, we're not the only ones who are excited about Tagmarshal. We also raised a Series A capital raise this year, which means that we can invest further in our product innovation, but also our service, which we always want to excel in. And the heroes on our service team is obviously Joey Walters, who is our GM over in Atlanta. We've got Peter Taylor, our customer success manager. Dean is his counterpart in Canada. And there's Cole, Jack, Raynard, Terrence, and that team is growing. A lot of them are former PGA pros and have worn your hats at various clubs. So that investment obviously helps us to keep doing more of this, and we're very excited that we can keep investing. Let me jump to the meat of it. Some of the results of the efficiency gains and labor savings. Obviously the team at Whistling Straits really know what they're doing. They have reduced their labor expenses and increased their round capacity, so it's a double gain. And they're not too far from the Straits as Sand Valley, and they really swear by Tagmarshal. When they launched their latest course, the Lido, they had Tagmarshal switched on before the course was even open for public play, because they really want and need to have the oversight in their line of sight. And they also trained the team that was going to run that course on the system ahead of time. And and obviously Pat here from Wild Rock is saying it's not only a tool for running the golf course, a tool for us to manage our payroll and be more effective than we have been in the past. And we know that rising labor costs is a big thing, and that is why you use technology. We firmly believe that if technology does its job, you as a manager get to do what you do best, which is obviously create and build relationships and create experiences with your team. And technology needs to do some of the heavy lifting so that you don't have to, and you can do what humans do best. Okay, automations and efficiency gains. We've got 3 sections. This is our first one, and we'd like to just introduce some of the Tagmarshal 4.0 improvements. And if you don't mind, Dean, if I can ask you to jump into one of the live courses and take over the screen sharing and show us some of the widgets and the sidebar and how things are managed now in the new setup.
Yeah, absolutely, Bodo. Thanks. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Perfect. So I have a live map of a golf course here on the 4.0 model. And what we've done is we've added 3 widgets that you can add to your dashboard. And they are time schedule, goals, and daily info. And it's awesome because you can add these 3 little widgets onto your dashboard. So not only do you have your map view, but you also have a widget that has your daily info, which has your goal time, your daily average, lists your number of groups in play, and how many groups are on pace. It also gives you a time schedule in numerical order. So instead of looking at the map, you can look at your timing schedule, which is a very simplistic view rather than looking at the map. And then it also gives you your goals for the day or for your week yet too. With this goal session, it's right here. It talks about how many rounds are on pace and how many problem groups are addressed. So it's some really cool features. If you don't want those widgets on your dashboard, you can simply X them and they disappear. We also have some really good efficiency improvements on the 2-way messaging. If cart number 74, for example, if we know that Mr. Machito left his sand wedge on the driving range, we can go into the 2-way messaging and we can compose a message and say, we found your sand wedge on the driving
Sandwich or sandwich?
We will bring it out to you.
I want to see how you spelled it.
We'll bring it out to you shortly, and then you hit send the message. So some real cool features here with the 2-way messaging and the widgets that are definitely going to improve your efficiency in your operation with Tagmarshal 4.0.
Craig, just give us a minute or so on the reasons behind that widget-based customization and what the thinking behind that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what we have found over the years is that the majority of our clients spend their time looking at the map, right? And that's where the magic happens. That's where sort of all the insight is. And having to click away to see other aspects of your system's operation is proven to take people's eye off the ball. So what we're trying to do is bring focus to one central place, and we've started with those first 3, which Dean has highlighted. The goal setting, some information, and a simple time schedule. But we will be adding more. So essentially, you'll be able to customize the information that sits around your screen. Again, it really helps you improve your efficiency and your time in the system. I'd just like to point out that for me, the most important widget of all of those 3 is the goal setting one. And I know we talked to reporting at the end of the session, which, you know, we'll come back to it. But really, if you're going to drive efficiencies through the use of Tagmarshal, it's about incremental improvement, and goal setting is a very important part of that, even if you're starting small, and then tracking your results against that goal setting. So I'm personally, that's the biggest drum I hit when I speak to our clients about how to drive efficiency through the system.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that in section 2 and 3 of our session. But I do think one thing to add also is that obviously with the broad variety of partners that we work with, which is the municipal course down the road, it's high-end a private club, it's a resort, right? And every club has different needs, we understand. So that is why we thought the customization would be really helpful. And also the customization filters down to the role level too. So if a starter wants to see different things to a GM, for instance, right? So we have made that available. And the sidebar that Dean briefly showed also is fully customizable. So you can push to the top what you want to see. You can take out what you don't want to see. Just to make things more intuitive, and also a lot of the actions that you can take with the system can happen right from there. You don't have to click away, and that's obviously a big a time saver and makes things easier. Just to jump ahead, one of the things that we firmly believe in is that systems need to talk to each other, and we now have over 20 integrations with various T-sheets and some T-sheet point of sale, so Golf Weather, also Golf Genius, and this sort of API-based system ecosystem is really, really important because the alternative of this would be a system that does not talk to other systems at all, right? That's a silo and there's no data exchange. And that's obviously limiting when it comes to you as a manager. You want to be able to pick the best T-sheet point of sale. You want to be able to pick the best GPS and an optimization system. You want to be able to pick the best tournament management system and or others, right? And those need to talk to each other. I know, and I've heard this before in conversation where people think, hey, why don't you build me one system that does everything, right? If you think about that, that's like building a car that is also a plane and that is also a boat, right? So it's going to do one thing pretty well and two things not so well. And it's also going to be a hell of a clunky and incredibly hard to learn. And also you're then really tied in, right? So that one thing that you really don't like, you can't just throw it out and get a new provider because you're stuck with one system that's promising you everything. So this world of API and integrations gives you the flexibility to say, hey, if a partner is falling behind on innovation or somebody else has got something that you really need, well, you switch it out, make sure those APIs are hooked up and everything that you learned and have in place elsewhere stays in place, right? So it really increases your ability to stay agile, right? Because obviously you want the best possible systems, and at the same time you want to stick with what's great and what works for multiple years and make those things work with new systems that you might bring in, right? So we would always encourage look out for that. Can the system that you want to get talk to other systems, and is it unsiloed? So yeah, to give an example, obviously we are pulling in data from various T-sheets, and that, for instance, shows straight in the sidebar, so we can personalize service, and we know, hey, this is a new player, this is a repeat player, this is a member, this is a guest, whatever the case might be. And one of the things that's obviously familiar to you from the legacy system, but one of the things that's new is how we've automated the assignment, where in the past you used to assign tags and assign cards so that they line up with the names. Yeah, Craig, if I can just ask you to talk efficiency gains are with that improvement.
Yeah, of course. So like I was previously saying, we want people focused on the live map, and we want them doing their job, and we want to create time rather spending and acting on the information the system is giving you, and less time doing the administration functions. So in the past, as Bodo pointed out, you would have had to assign each card to a group. Well, now we've built the integration in a way that it feeds into the T-sheet, but not only that, we are pairing the cards that are going out in the sequence of the T-sheet into the T-sheet automatically. So you don't actually have to physically do the T-sheet assignment. All you have to do is keep track of it, make sure that you're adjusting if cards are going out of sequence a little bit and pulling them back into sequence. And it really does save you a lot of time and effort. And that's part of how we're trying to improve the promise of labor savings using the system. In the past, you would have had to have a starter focusing very much on assignment rather than what he should be doing, and that is conveying a healthy message on the tee box, and setting awareness around a good and healthy flow of play. In the old days, it used to be too bogged down actually doing the assignment, and now it's being done for him. So I think that's a really nice enhancement that's made possible through those many integrations that we have. Obviously, assigning is a hugely important aspect of data gathering, especially if you're looking to build profiles around players, caddies, or player groups, types of players. We've actually built out the T-sheets a little bit further. It allows you to capture more information on each group than you previously would have been allowed to. So now you can capture things like players' handicaps, if they're male, female, whether they're playing different types of tee boxes, and that type of information. So yeah, a really nice enhancement portal.
Yeah, we obviously know that a little bit of discipline when it comes to data input gives you so much more to work with later on, right? So the best opportunity here is making sure that things are assigned, and that starts with what you put into your T-sheet, and then you can add, is this members, is this guests, is this a mix, for instance, or is this a ladies only group, for instance, or men only group, or other, whatever. Like, you can define custom fields almost, and then add that whatever is important, so that whoever deals with the group out on the course, and also the data that you've then gathered post, has those labels attached. Like we always say, if you have a group that says, Mr. Miller, guest, that and that is the way in which assignment is done on the T-sheet, that means there's a lot of guests at the end of the season that you don't have any data insights on, right? So we'd always encourage a bit of discipline around this, because then you can obviously dig deeper. One of the upgraded system features is the shotgun module. Obviously, that is a busy day out when there's a shotgun tournament. Dean and Craig, I just want to invite you to just talk a little bit to that, and obviously the workflows really well, and what is the improvement? What can our partners expect?
Dean,
sure, Craig, I'll start. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I'll take the first part of this here. So this is probably one of our most major improvements with Tagmarshal 4.0 is our shotgun module, and how we can retroactively start a shotgun. I remember as being a club professional, I'd be on the first tee doing my first tee message, and the shotgun was supposed to be going out at 12 o'clock, and I looked at my watch and it was 10 after 12 o'clock. So this new module allows you to retroactively start the shotgun. So if you do have a shotgun, say, set at 12 o'clock, the people get on the golf course at say 12:15, you can go back and you can set the shotgun to 12:15 and have accurate data. And so that's an awesome improvement that we've done here with this shotgun module, because I know how crazy events can be where you're running all over the place, you're trying to get carts staged, you're trying to get the last handicap for an event. It takes the headache out of this, setting up the shotgun module, and 4.0 has solved this, and we're way more efficient going forward with this module now.
Yeah, and I also think event management is crazy, right? And we all know that events typically play longer than your average golf day. So Tagmarshal is even more important. And if you can't set up your tee sheet properly and your shotgun start properly, you lose all the efficiency that you would get in managing an event. So it's been a big focus area for us. There are also some very nice efficiencies through the integration, and I'm going back to that word, with Golf Genius. One of the major, I guess, sort of labor intensive parts of managing a tournament with Golf Genius is supporting people trying to set up the score capture on their phone, and then conversely the live leaderboard accessing it. Well, with our new two-way product, we have now integrated Golf Genius's tournament management software. So what effectively happens is, as you enter the course, it prompts you on your screen, if you've set up the shotgun as a tournament manager, it will prompt you to input your scores, which obviously means the player doesn't have to have it done on his phone. It means your team don't have to show him. So there's a labor efficiency on your side, but also there's a improved experience for the player himself in the cart. And then as he's going through, he can choose to see the live leaderboard on the screen. So you really have the very beneficial gamification aspects that Golf Genius is obviously renowned for, without some of the headache of having to support the setup. So from an efficiency and an efficiency of labor perspective, a massive innovation, I think.
Yeah, also the geo-located and geo-based prompt to enter scores, right? It's always helpful because you want your field to be updated as best you can.
Correct.
I think yeah, good and important adjustments here. Yeah, let's jump into our next section, early identification of problem groups. So these are some core principles when it comes to management, and you're all obviously mindful that pace and flow of play is a top 3 critical experience factors as rated by players, right? The only things that rate higher, as according to players, there's 25 million people in the US now playing on a golf course, and 74% of them, that's a chunky number, are saying that pace of play is top 3, and the number 1 a factor is course conditioning. We all know that that's where a lot of your budget goes. Number 2 for players is who's in my playing group. I don't want to be paired with Craig if I can avoid it, because he takes my money. And number 3 is a pace of play, right? So we also know that pace of play has a huge impact on the net promoter score and the post-round sentiment, and you are all converted, right? You understand this. That is why you have invested in Tagmarshal, because you're looking to drive efficiencies out on the golf course, and make sure that you deliver a quality product. So some of the strategies we want to talk to now when it comes to how to get the most out of your system. I want to again challenge Craig here to share maybe 2 or 3 principles that we have learned work really well in our many years of obviously making this our special field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although I think your slides come apart there, but I don't necessarily need the slide to answer the question. Yeah, so I mean, being Tagmarshal customers, the majority of the people on this call will know their course really well. They will have received end of season reports, but more than that, they're drilling into the I guess specific dynamics of what makes their course tick. I'm talking about hold times, guys, and I'm talking about how long people take to get to the various points in your course, and also where your bottlenecks are. So if you know your course well, you know how to identify when people are starting to fall behind or when there's a problem. What Tagmarshal gives you the ability to do, and the number one sort of habit we try and coach our power users is to get to people early on in their round and really create the awareness that pace of play is an important thing for you guys as course managers, and you are watching and you have a system in play to help make their experience better. So, learning number one is create awareness early, and then make sure that there's a point on the course that you're interacting with your groups early, whether that's a positive interaction, to say, hey, check it out, we can see you're on pace, or maybe a slightly firmer intervention, to say you're a little bit out of pace and we can see where you are. This is the impact you're having. But if you do that early, the likelihood of that group correcting themselves is much higher. Also, you haven't allowed it to get out of hand. All right, so get to them early. The second tip is, through knowing your course, know the areas of your course that speak to having multiple interventions. What I mean by that is a position on the first 9 where you can have that early intervention and then traverse a short distance and catch that group coming around 2 or 3 holes later. A lot of courses have strategic points. We highlight them in our reporting at the end of season. So make sure you're aware of where those points are, and mandate your team to really follow that practice. And then the third tip is track everything, and really Tagmarshal allows you to do that. It's got really nice tools to record marshal interactions, and encourage your team to have those interactions with the new goal setting widget that Dean was showing you earlier. You can actually track how many interactions have been had out on the course, and you can set a target for them. And you can see how your team are going versus that target. Those 3 things, whether you're having an excellent day or not, will likely set the framework for a good day into the mid-afternoon and midday.
Thanks, Craig. We're going to talk to those incremental improvement principles in the last section, and as Craig mentioned, goal setting is so important, right? I mean, you can only measure what you can track, right? And the interactions and interventions out on the golf course at the right time, at the right place, and that's obviously where you have a system to tell you when it's needed, is always going to work. Like, we've seen this literally in millions of rounds. And what we always encourage is to track those engagements, because that way we can keep the team accountable. Are they doing their job? We can keep ourselves accountable. Are we getting to the problem at the right time? One of the things that we've improved is what we call the pace disruptors module, because we do realize, and it's also feedback that we've received, and if you look back at this map, if I don't click on group number 33, which I did here, but if I don't click on group number 13, I do not know, is this group 1 minute out or are they 7 minutes out, right? So I have to look at it, and I have to check in on that group if I want to get the picture. So we wanted to make that thresholding, where our algorithm obviously takes up to 10 factors into account, such as how big is the tail of that group, of delayed groups that they have behind them, how early in the round are they falling out of position, is that trend stable or is it getting worse? All of those things we're calculating all the time, but we do realize that we want to give the course operators the tool so that they can set a threshold that's important to them and what they want to see when they want to be alerted. And also, not every day is the same, right? And we very often also see, like we spoke about shotguns, big tournament days, they run differently to your regular day, right? So we want to give you the tools so you can set things up in a way that gives you the best chances for success. Craig, can you jump in and talk to the pace disruptors and how that displays and some of the benefits of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're talking labor saving, today. And I think the pace disruptors model really is a nice enhancement to what Tagmarshal has offered in the past. Essentially, what it is in the past, when groups have fallen out of position, we've had an automated message that has gone to the manager via SMS or email, whatever they choose, to say a group has fallen 5 minutes out of position. Well, obviously, as the field falls out of position and your day gets slow, you're getting 20 or 30 notifications. And in that instance, it really, you lose the power of who's actually the cause of the problem. So what we've done is and Borda's got it on his screen here, we are now enabling you to set the criteria and your definition of what a problem or disruptor group is. And essentially, you may choose to make that a group that falls 10 minutes behind their goal time and potentially 20 minutes, as this example shows, behind the group ahead of them. So effectively, what that means is they're behind their goal time and they're out of position by an additional 10 minutes, right? To me, that sounds like somebody that needs attention. Going back to the map, instead of sending you multiple SMSs to say somebody's falling further and further behind, and the whole field, because everyone's playing at the fastest pace of the group ahead of them, is getting that message. Now you're getting one message, plus you're getting an indication on the screen, and the little indication in this instance is in tag 16, which is a cart. You can see it's magenta, meaning it's delaying the field. 17's behind it. And it's got quite a big tail, 18 behind it. So 2 carts are waiting on 16, and the group ahead is almost up, getting up to the fairway on the 5th hole. But that little red icon is indicating you're a problem group or a pace disruptor. And that's really cutting to the point. And I think the really important thing is, you no longer have to watch the system and try and identify these items yourself. Obviously, we encourage people keeping eyes on the system, but if you're a single pro and you're managing the pro shop and it's your job to also manage pace on the course, if you have this module set up, well, you're going to get notified when you've got major problems like the one I defined, and you'll be able to see it easily on the system and cut right to the chase and have an intervention with this group.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. And again, catch it early. And log that interaction, right? Because we want to understand, have been successful, because prevention is so much easier than cure, right? So one of the things, obviously, that if you're running the two-way system is you don't have to go out to that group number 16. They can get an automated message, or you can give them a direct message straight from where you're looking on your tablet, right? Or on your computer in the pro shop. Get it straight to them. They need to acknowledge, or they can request assistance if they feel like they want to respond. And that obviously, this is again based on your threshold, so that you know exactly when and what is right, and what you feel is the correct way to intervene. Dean, I know that you've seen this in action, and especially the two-way. There's also obviously weather messages. What are the course partners saying that use those?
Yeah, it's an absolute game changer, Bodo, and just for club operators to send a message on a two-way message for the screen, just to let the clients know that there is a storm coming, and not having to rely on a horn that may not reach all areas of the golf course, or have to send staff out on the golf course and notify golfers that a storm is coming at 2. So having this set up on the screens is so efficient for club owners and managers to broadcast this message, and it just takes the guesswork out of from the staff to the clientele of saying, well, did they hear the horn or did they not hear the horn? But actually, they can just send the message out on the screen.
Yeah, the pace notification also is one that we know that, I mean, the system with the live map that zooms in on the whole obviously is in front of them, but we want them to take note over and above that little pace strip that is at the bottom of the screen. And we can see, have they acknowledged yes or no, right? So because, and we very often see this, we've actually had partners that have switched from the classic system to the screen. And because the screen constantly interacts with players and updates them on their pace, they actually see a further improvement generally just by giving the players that line of sight. Yeah, so this, yeah, we're finding very helpful. Yeah, another time saver is that we now have the option of doing waiver forms on the screen. And obviously that means if you don't have queues in the clubhouse, once things are untangled, you can make this a first step in the golf cart. And there's some of our partners that also use this as an additional data entry opportunity, right? Because we said it earlier, if you have guests, you can actually grab their data by making them sign a waiver form. And that's obviously helpful if you want to build out your database of potential future members at your club, or if you run a resort, or if you run a daily fee course, you want to know as much as there is to know. Is this a repeat customer, or is it a first-time customer? And if for some reason the tee sheet wasn't updated correctly, you can then still grab additional information. Yeah, another time saver that obviously is possible with that sort of personally interaction that the two-way screen provides. And just to back the labor efficiencies portion, so one of our course partners, Willow Springs, they're up in Maryland. It's quite a short course, so they're quick to begin with, but they wanted to be more efficient and even quicker. And they've posted yeah, an additional $500,000 in additional revenue. That's greens revenue. That's also additional food and beverage, because they were able to be more effective around big corporate events that in the past used to take quite a long time, and now over quicker, and people consume more. And they freed up additional capacity, and they had immediate labor savings. So Ben is saying that just from a labor savings point of view, with the automations that he's able to run, the system cost is more than covered. And obviously that's great to see. And it's kind of him to put that in numbers for us. And that's exactly what we're here for, right? Okay, the last portion, and I know that we need to keep ourselves on pace here because that's our mission. Know your course according to data, and the importance of the intervention tracking. So we spoke about goal setting, and this is one goal that we always advocate is interaction and intervention goals. So a check-in means a friendly check-in by a course assistant or somebody out on the golf course always goes down well with players, right? And especially when it comes to building a relationship, because players, yeah, it's a non-preferred interaction if a marshal comes over and says something nasty to them, right? So building that relationship up all the time, checking in with players is always a good idea. But us as managers, we can make our team, hold our team accountable if we're saying we expect of the shift X amount of interventions, X amount of check-ins. And if things work smoothly out there, great, let's find something different for you to do. But keep an eye, and you're never gonna, your service is never gonna fall behind if you're checking in with players out there, right? And you can turn a first-time visitor into a repeat customer, and you can upsell them on what's happening at the grill or at the pro shop. There's always options that you can make that experience better. So setting goals for that is key. And we want to track, and that is where the disruptor option comes in. How long did it take us to get to that intervention? And have we saved the day, right? So that we can really hold our team accountable. And we have learned this from the management groups, because they are benchmarking the 20 or 30 or 40 courses they have on Tagmarshal, and they want to know which ones are the ones that are doing this really well, and what can others learn from them. And they realize that's it. This is it. Get on to the prom early. And then we recently had a webinar with a Premier Group. It's part of Troon. They're saying they run municipal courses. A course that does this well earns $3 more per round, right? that doesn't sound a lot, but incrementally it is a lot. If you do 50,000 rounds a year, that's a lot of money that you're making just by being better at your job, right? And on the incremental improvement question, and this is where we think Tagmarshal, or that's what we designed, is an incremental improvement machine. It's all around doing what we need to do better and creating processes and habits that take care of and the tracking and the execution of that. And then we get better and better and better, right? So once we reach our goals, we set higher thresholds and better benchmarks. Craig briefly spoke to know your course, the whole by whole runtime. And one of the things that is new here is that you can actually see wait times on the tee box. You can see time in fairway broken down. So you can see, obviously, in the past, you could see, hey, this hole is running over the allotted runtime. But now you can see where's the actual issue. So sometimes that might be a setup issue, and sometimes it might be a setup issue at the hole ahead, right? If you're having to wait. So those things, obviously, you can dial your superintendents in and really together work on an optimal solution, also depending on the play volume you have ahead and the weather that you might have ahead, so that it's real thought put into optimizing this, and then you can run data through it. And again, it's incremental, right? If there's 5 holes that you can steal 2 or 3 minutes from, that's 2 additional tee times gained, and people are happier coming off the course. One of the things that we used to, and obviously still do, end of season reports, where we're looking at data deep dives, and that is now for the most part built into the system. Craig, if I can just trouble you, we've got a single day view here, and then we have a daily overview, day of week, and a monthly overview. How would an operator use this to get further efficiencies and also obviously labor savings?
Yeah, so I mean, I think on the daily view, well, actually, let's take a step back. So knowing the volume that goes through your course, through your season, is obviously very important. Our managers intrinsically know that because they've got the payroll. I mean, the greens information, so they know when they're selling their rounds. So they know when they're busy, right? But if they look at it on a weekly basis, maybe they're not quite as fine-tuned as to which days of the week are their busy days and which days they should be assigning more labor to, all right? So if you go to the next slide and you look at the weekly view, you can actually see, all right, in the top right-hand corner there, I can see that the Friday in this instance is the big day. And guess what? That's, funnily enough, the day when there's a lot of slow play. So I need to focus my labor and my shifts on Friday. Well, okay, when on Friday? Do I need a marshal in the morning? Do I need him in the afternoon, or do I need him full through the day? Well, now we can come and see how pace has developed through the day based on when people teed off. And I can see that in the morning, you're typically playing a little bit faster than in the afternoon. But the real problem here is coming in the fifth time slot there. Bodo, I'm sorry, but I can't see the actual time.
This is at 10 a.m. That's 11.
10 a.m. and 11 a.m. are your problems. So what you want to do is you want to have your labor intensified around that period. You want to be hitting people early out on the course, and you want to be trying to prevent what we can see there, and that is that a lot of people that tee off at that time are experiencing really slow and frustrating waits out on the course. So from a labor point of view, you can really dial into where your problems are and where you need to focus your efforts.
Yeah, so it really is a case of 2 hours of focus beats 4 hours of mop-up, right? 4 hours of fixing the problem and post-round complaints and what have you, right? So get ahead of it. But here we can really learn when are the key times for our team to pay attention, and when can we allocate them to other tasks that need doing throughout the week. So this is, again, that used to be part of our end of season reporting. You now have this at your fingertips, and you can set your date ranges that you want to dig into. And obviously, yeah, I don't want to fail to mention that our customer success team is available to coach you, to show you, to also show you some of the insight that comes out of that, including the ability to run variable goal times. So variable goal times, we saw it just now in this example where the morning runs significantly faster. I don't even want to know what golf course is a hell of a slow. If 440 is where things start, might be Erin Hills, but Erin Hills is not slow. Erin Hills is majestic. Where 5 hours is a perfect time, right? So because it's long and extremely hard. So we then understand, okay, this course, we can run it faster, and we can also then advertise fast lane golf, for instance. That's a amazing opportunity for a private club to really foster a fast start to the day, the first a few tee times out, and then stagger this upwards, and also where possible tighten some of the intervals. So this is all possible with the system, and we can then manage things accordingly to look for additional capacity. And we also know there's an efficiency gain here. If we start the day quicker, the rest of the day is quicker. So we actually need to pay less labor attention on it if we do things right, and if we also ideally allocate faster players to the first few tee times. Looking back at the goal setting, what are some of the goals that we encourage to be set here over and above the interventions? One of the things that we obviously tracking is the assignment, right? Because data is a discipline question, right? It's a bullshit in, bullshit out question. The better we assign, the more we can do with the data. And that's to the point that was raised earlier. So it's the assignment accuracy. It's a goal setting for rounds on pace, right? What percentage of rounds is on pace? Let's set a goal. Are we achieving that? Are we getting better? And you will see that it all works in tandem, right? If we're getting out to those groups early, let me just paint a quick mark here. So here's your interventions tracked. This one has another set of interventions. So these groups all have interventions that were tracked out on the map, and data ties in through here. And then we can see, have we caught the problem? Yes, we have. Success. Have we caught the problem? Yes, we have, because things didn't deteriorate. If we don't have these interventions, everything goes red and bad, and the day goes 30 minutes over, and we have to deal with complaints. So it all goes hand in hand, and it's here we can see the assignment discipline and also the starter accuracy, right? It's second nature at most clubs, that the starter has the role, obviously, to get discipline into the start time adherence, but sometimes players are over eager. And they want to go a bit sooner, and sometimes a group is slightly late and they're going a bit later. Well, if it's vice versa, that creates an issue because your 9-minute interval now is reduced to 6, and that causes a problem very soon, right? So things like that all are trackable, and then we can hold those various resources accountable, and it all works in tandem to really get an incrementally improved outcome. And the last point here is on the interactions tracking. We obviously have the data feed in to the analytics hub, but we also have it fed into the track map. So every round, and the new track map is looking really cool, has an history of where were geofence breaches, where was this group, what was their pace status at any time, and the interactions again are key, because we want to make sure if a group really went bad and we didn't catch them, why? Where was our resource? Why didn't we get a message to them? Because afterwards we have to play a mop-up game. Okay, and again, just to bring things full circle, those goals are then shown as a widget on the live map, where I know a lot of you are spending a fair bit of your time. A lot of you have your tee sheet open, you have your Tagmarshal live map open, you have maybe your weather or open. And this really sets the goal, and then we can see how are we doing against our goal setting, and is our team doing their job out there. Just to keep us on time and maybe also tackle another question or two. Obviously, great to get good marks from Pinehurst, and they actually attributed a 22-point improvement in Net Promoter Score to doing things better with the program. And obviously, we've learned from them too. So automation is key, and being able to do things from one central point and setting things up in a way that's custom to what you need at your course. Those were the big drivers that we put into this upgrade. Let me see if there's any questions. If you have any, shoot them through. We have another session, and that is episode 3, where we're looking at optimizing revenue and how we can squeeze out these gains incrementally. And I would encourage all of you to pay attention. That Willow Springs example of $500,000 additional revenue gain in one season is quite impressive. There's others where clubs have, in conjunction with dynamic pricing and the execution out on the golf course with Tagmarshal, increased their greens revenue by 85% over 3 seasons. It's really, really material improvement. So we're going to dig into that in our next session. Let me see if there's any questions that have popped up. In the meantime, our team is now our customer success team, and your agent that's assigned to you will reach out with your end of season report and the ability to have a call and a deep dive. We'd obviously love for you to do that and take advantage of that. And it's really helpful to see, at a glance, how you've done the season, and also great for your reporting to your committees or ownership. And just to see and to show also that the efforts that you're putting in are yielding results. You'll also get our Tagmarshal Awards results because data doesn't lie, right? And there's nothing more exciting for us than to have a major host with a lot of resourcing, have the same results at a club down the road that has a staffing contingent of 20, right? And where you pay $50 to play your round. So if they can deliver the same results according to data, that's awesome for us to see. Okay, is there a question? The questions have all been answered by our customer success guys. That's amazing. You're making our job so easy. Then Dean, any parting thoughts? I know that your courses have had a very, very busy season. What are the parting thoughts, and what are you looking forward to into the next season?
Thanks, Bodo and Craig. I thank you so much for today. And in Canada, we have about in the western part of Canada, in Alberta, have about 2 weeks left to 3 weeks left. And then Ontario's got about maybe 3 or 4 more weeks. So the season is coming to an end, but I do think we have some exciting things in 2025 with Tagmarshal 4.0 that our clients will really look forward to implementing this. And it's surely going to be an exciting time next year for sure.
Craig, for anyone wanting to test drive this now in their shoulder season, how do they go about this?
So we're making it available to people on a case-by-case basis. They can reach out to any of the CSOs you mentioned earlier and request it. Obviously, with the change in system comes training and a little bit of effort, but I really believe it's worth it. And the shoulder season presents an opportune time to do that, to really practice with your team, so that at the beginning of next season, when you're really busy getting ready to see an influx of players, your focus isn't so much on training people how to use Tagmarshal. It's on the other things that you have to deal with as a golf pro, which we know there are many. I'd encourage people to take advantage of that shoulder season opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, gents, appreciate your time, and thanks everyone for making a bit of time for us today. There is a recording of the session, and as always, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to our team. And if you have any support queries, hit up the support channel. The team is always here for you. I see there's a hand raised. I cannot see the Q&A, so if there's anything that we can tackle, please, can you read it out? I can't see it because I'm sharing my screen. Maybe I should just stop and then I can see it. Okay, how do you deal with a buggy blocking issue was a question. Is that a question of the cart kill? like, are we going to build it? Yes, it's been built. Yes, Geordie, yes. So that our engineering team is already in testing on that. And that then gets rolled out. Obviously, there's various carts out there, and we've got a priority list of certain brands first. But that is very much coming, and we understand the importance, and especially at some courses, it's non-negotiable. So thanks for your question. Okay, I think we want to make sure everyone can get on with the day. If you have just a few weeks left, you have to make hay while the sun still shines. And for those of you who are starting out your season, Arizona, Florida, and so on, yeah, we're excited to launch the upgrade into your season and make sure that your teams are up and ready and well versed when everyone comes to play in your necks of the woods. And yeah, remember to dial into the revenue session, the next one. That's the business end game, right? So we'd love to have you on, and then also maybe look at some options that you might want to sink your teeth into for the 2025 season or the time ahead. There's always more to be learned. Okay, thanks, gents. Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Dean. It's been fun, and we'll see you guys soon.